Hello, welcome back to Jacob's Books, where we're talking about this video. The intro for where we read the poems for the end of the world by Wismer was awkward, and so I'm redoing that intro. This video takes place a few months ago and stuff, and where I sit down and I read the entirety of Poems for the End of the World in a sped up kind of version while talking about them, specifically certain poems, how I feel, if they get me emotional, whatever it might be. This book is phenomenal. The author is phenomenal. I'm going to put several of other videos in the cards, so I highly recommend you check those out. And even her channel is going to be linked down below and in the cards. And then places you can buy this, because this is coming out on release day. This book is available for you to buy and everything, physical and or ARC. Not physical or ARC, physical or ebook editions. And I'm going to put all those links and stuff down below. And yeah, I'm so excited for you guys to be able to see my full thoughts and opinions while we read this. I do have one question for you. The whole point of this video was to read the book with you. And so I have like 52 minutes of raw footage. And I was wondering, do you guys want to see that whole entire thing with just music in between where I read? Or do you guys like the sped up version that is you guys are going to get to see right now, where there's time lapses of me reading and jumping in and out, talking about the different poems and stuff? Let me know in the comments down below. I think I might make a comment or something kind of talking about this in more greater detail. But let's go ahead and jump into this video, as I don't want this intro to be super duper long. And I'll talk to you. And I might pop up every once in a while in editing mode, because who knows what I'm going to say. This was quite a few months ago. So there's that. All right, let's jump into the video. 104 pages or something like that. It's very short. It's poetry. It's not going to take me very long to read, but it's going to be a fun video to make. So that's what we're doing right now. Sit back, grab your novel, and you can of course pause it every once in a while in case you want to read it with me and things. Could be the way to go. Not really sure. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started for Wismer's Poems at the End of the World. Now, like I said, I do have a review, and I also might not put the non-spoiler discussion in here at all. And it might be a video that has already been out on my channel, and so I would even put that up in the cards, as this will contain slight spoilers, if any spoilers. It's hard to know if you can spoil a poetry collection, but I say you probably can, so come in after you've read it. Okay, let's just go ahead and get started. Her poems are never titled. They have never been titled. I'm gonna move you guys a little bit. Ooh, closer. They've never been titled. It's never been a thing for her. And so the first one we come across, I also very much enjoy. I like the font better, which is a weird thing to talk about. But with poetry, I think it's very important to get the perfect font and things. And I enjoy this one. It's a little more mature, even in font style. And also, the poem itself is even, I'd say, a little bit more mature than her last collection, even though her last collection was extremely mature and dealt with extremely mature things. So. I don't even know how to just. I'll try to review them in sections, since there's 4 sections. Okay, so part 1 of it is called Waking Up. Waking Up goes, it's basically, I want to say, even from things that she has talked about, it is the connection between the sweetest kind of poison and moving forward with what this poetry collection is actually going to be about. There's a lot of self-doubt throughout here, talks about abuse, and even going even further than what the actual sweetest kind of poison talked about, even further into the abuse that she has endured. I am using she as a reference as the author because it's a lot of I's and things, and I's make it more personal, and You have to assume that they're talking about themselves, which is why it's like the fourth poem. I'm not gonna read it to you guys, but it's beautiful. And I don't understand. It is just absolutely gorgeous. I do like how these poems are much longer. I like micro poems. I enjoy them. That's not a problem. But there's so much more here to sit and just read over again and again and again. And I think every time with micro poems, you experience them differently, but they're still only the 6 or 7 words that they are. Whereas this is every line, every word could be taken a different way. Um, and also, and my first heartbreak was not my heart, but I did break. Hit me a little too hard. Just not being able to figure out what to write, what to make of this poetry collection, I find to be so relatable. And I don't know. It's been beautiful. Oh, maybe if I cry enough, some poetry will come out again. We have been there. My Jesus. That hit me real harder. But that being said, we're going to move on to Growing Pains. I will once again talk about Growing Pains when I finish Growing Pains. But we're going to sit here and read it together. So that's what we're moving into for anybody who is curious. And I'll talk about my opinions and just my discussion of the section. I figure this is how we'll do it, and then we'll talk about it as a whole at the end of the video. Part 2, Growing Pains, I find to be extremely intriguing. Not just because of how real and raw and personal, second word, I don't know, she is with us. How much she's willing to show. A good example of this is one, I don't know who watched this, Katie, but you're like one of my favorite people in the whole world. I've never met you. We've only talked a few times through social media for whatever purpose it might be, live streaming or otherwise. You're a huge inspiration to me personally, and all this other stuff. And we see a lot of, I mean, I'm a vlogger, I understand. We edit out the parts we don't like. I refilm a vlog clip 90 times before I even decide that's the one I'm going with. And editing and other things just make it so fluid that it's just easier. The more this year progresses, the more I'm going to have to edit down those clips because the more depressed I'm going to get and things. And it was like when we saw, I recommend you watch this documentary, Miss Americana, if you've never seen it before, by Taylor Swift. And Taylor Swift, you know, in a way, is just like, you know, the author of this book, who I've referenced several times, because their whole life is in front of you. You know, Taylor Swift has been famous since she was like 17. You know, we've seen her grow up with us. She's older and things like that. But seeing Miss Americana and figuring out these new things about her, it was both very raw and very shocking. And I'm not saying everything in here is new information. I'm not saying that. It just makes me appreciate and never experience in writing myself. I read gay fiction. I read, you know, other types of stories of where I experience that part of my life, you know, in those particular stories of whatever that might be. But I never really truly seen myself. And I've talked about this before, but you know, in the Anti-Virginity Pact, there are certain scenes of that I will never be able to unread lines I want tattooed on my body because they will bring me so much joy to know that, somebody had seen me that way, that I saw a character in that light. The sweetest kind of poison, I have ones that I picked out that I know one day I'm going to get cemented on walls, and I'm going to see them every single time I blink, because that's how important they are to me, because they showed me something that I never would have been able to see without it. And Growing Pains in particular had some of those poems that were so raw, so real, and so vulnerable that it hurts me, because I know it's that pain of somebody that you look up to so much, and you get to see the glimpse of the realness, and that's exactly what we need to see. But you just want to give that person a hug. And then, because it's poetry, you reflect it back onto yourself, and I'm doing everything I can in my power to make sure that I'm the happiest I possibly can be. And it's beautiful and nice to know that there's somebody out there who feels the same way. Because I think all of us depressed kids, all of us emos that live our life and that go through it day by day, that we do, is that's, going and seeing a therapist, probably the most healthiest way I've mentioned so far. To move forward, to put ourselves in a book, devote our time to a video game, to spend hours on the internet uploading ourselves, because we know once our camera turns on, we are going to be a different person than when it's turned off, because we don't have to, because we can hide ourselves better when we're being face to face with ourselves. And having all these poems reflected back onto me, a lot of it is just, it's real, it's hard, and it's beautiful, and it's just, I knew this poetry collection was going to be amazing. I had no doubt in my mind. When I received the ARC, I cried, because I knew it was going to be beautiful. You can't write The Sweetest Kind of Poison and not come back with something even better. You just improve. That's how writing works. And I'm only halfway through it, and I'm just 62%, actually. I can't wait to reread this. I want to go through every line, and this is beautiful. Alright, we're moving on to Crushing Realities. You've almost got me to cry twice now, so we'll see if Crushing Realities can do it. This is a much more darker, I have to say, set than her first one, which I also thought was very dark. Not in like a bad way, just like, in a tonal way. But once again, I think if you want to get real and raw, you can't hold anything back, and you can't do these things. And so, yeah, I don't know. Alright, let's get reading. I have a lot of thoughts and opinions, as you can tell. All beautifully. All good. Nothing bad. No negatives here. So, yeah, some of these were real hard. I don't even know how to describe it. There's moments, and like I said, it's all about interpretation. That's the beautiful thing about poetry. It's all about how you interpret it, how I might interpret something could be completely different than how somebody who I've never met in my life could interpret it. And also knowing, or not knowing, because you never really truly know someone unless you are in their life 24/7. You're with them, but then again, I'm with my family, and some days I don't even know them. So either way, when you see somebody who you watch daily, if that's for whatever purpose, every time she uploads a video, I watch it. And when you're a huge fan and things, you feel like you know them. And there's even poems in here talking about that. Specifically, and how we don't know the person behind. And I'm just gonna say what it starts with, and you can read it. It's in, like I said, the search section, and it's called "I Cried Today." Is the start of the poem. I don't have enough room on my body to write it on me, but I need it somewhere in my life, and I mean that in the best way. It's just beautiful. And I don't really know how else to describe it, and everybody needs to read this. I keep saying that about So It's Kind of Poison and the Anti-Virginia. Oh my god, I've recommended the Anti-Virginia Pact so many times. Since it's came out, this past month. So, it's been out for a month. Yeah, I think so. Alright, let's read the final part. Disappointing Beginnings. I wasn't ready for it to be over. I wanted to reread the last quote. Okay. So, it's over. There was one. I'm gonna allow myself to read you guys one of them. Now, this is part of the last collection, so, of poetry. Okay. I highlighted in pink, and one day I'll tell you guys how I annotate books in general. Sometimes I don't have a purpose, I just like to do it. So, here it goes. And I might skip a few lines, once again trying to abridge it, but either way. And I'm gonna say thank you to Katie, as she deserves it. And I'm gonna talk about it in general, and then I'm gonna talk about this poetry collection compared to her last poetry collection, and why it is the perfect sequel, I guess. Yeah. So, every man I meet, I'm convinced, could be the man of my dreams. We could be talking for a week or a year. We could have everything in common or nothing at all. And I refuse to be the person who loves someone for what he can do for me rather than the person himself. So maybe staying single is the kindest thing I can do. There's so many poems in here that we could sit here and talk about for 6 hours. The Poems for the End of the World was miraculous. It was beautiful. It was everything I wanted, and more. And someone who's written a poetry collection, to someone who never posted a poetry collection, but I just wrote it. They're hard. They take a lot out of you. They're faster than writing a novel, obviously. They're shorter. There's many reasons behind it why it's faster. But there's something about pouring your heart out on the pages and then letting somebody else read them is so brave and inspiring and beautiful. And once again, I want to say thank you, Katie. Thank you for allowing me, one, to have an advanced reader copy. Cool. I read this on July 21st. You guys are seeing this on October 1st, so it's a little bit of a difference. Hopefully the world's better by then. Who knows? Let me know in the comments down below. Sorry. I'm trying not to cry. But I want to say thank you to Katie. I'm sure I've said thank you 1,000 times before this, but you're one of the few authors that, I see myself in the writing. The reason why I love The Sweetest Kind of Poison, I love The Sweetest Kind of Poison, is because it was such a thing that I needed in that time of my life, of that horrible, wretched breakup that I had went through, and how much it broke me. Didn't break my heart, but it broke me, and I'm still, to this day, trying to put those pieces back together. Then you have Poems for the End of the World, where it's like, oh my god, it's also trying, it's here at a moment in my life that I didn't know I needed it. I didn't know I wanted, I knew I wanted it. My most anticipated book is for the end, the end of this year. And yeah, I think, okay, let's very quickly talk about why I think this is a sequel to The Sweetest Kind of Poison. Now, once again, you don't have to read both collections to really get the same experience, but I do think you would get a better experience if you did read both collections, as the first part and the last part both tie in together. I think, you know, Sweetest Kind of Poison is overcoming a terrible and wretched relationship. Once again, I'm not going to very dwell on it here, as I have a full-on review up on my channel. But with Poems from the End of the World, you also have this moment in this thing of where she is still trying to work through that horrible abusive relationship, but you can also see her overcome it and move on and move forward, and it's just beautiful, and it's amazing, and I'm so happy I read them back to back. Yeah, I'm sure somebody's gonna write in the comments that I'm being over dramatic and that it's just a poetry collection, blah blah blah. I don't care about you. I care about the people who care. Let me know in the comments below how you guys felt about this type of review, how you guys felt about this type of video of where I sit down, I read the entire book with you, and we have a discussion throughout, a spoilerly, non-spoiler discussion, whatever it might be. Obviously these are better for books that are shorter, but I could always choose a spot, and we could always sit down and I could read it with you guys the whole time if it's a longer book. Let me know in the comments down below how you guys feel. Who knows, I could have already had an experiment like this already on my channel. Like I said, it is July. You guys are seeing this in October. As it does contain poems and stuff from the story, I don't want to release a type of video like this. So it'll come out on release day, which is obviously, I guess, a Tuesday. So, cool. Quite a few Tuesdays from now. Alright, I'm going to go do my non-spoiler review, which I'm sure is up on my channel already. I'll have a Goodreads review, I'll link it down below, and all this other stuff, but you guys are going to hear practically about the same amount of opinions, just without, you know, so much details. Alright, thank you for watching. If you guys enjoyed, if you guys did, please make a big fat thumbs up. Don't forget to comment down below, hit the subscribe button. I'll see you all next time for another beautiful video. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.